Hi friends! It has been probably some time since I filmed a video because I am lazy and always tired. But anyway, this 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 doesn't have like a theme. This isn't a specific video. This is a let's talk about books video. Let's talk about what I've just finished reading, what I just started reading, a couple of books that I recently bought. Let's just get into it. I actually don't know where to start with this. Okay, I guess we'll start with the books I finished most recently because while I think they deserve a video entirely of their own, I'm too lazy to organize that and figure out how I want to plot it all out. So I'm just gonna spill everything to you guys. So, on the recommendation of my lovely friend Lita, I ended up reading the Kingdom trilogy by Kerry Maniscalco. Don't don't get me started on how triggering it is that I bought a copy of the third book that does not match the other two. Anyway, here's what had happened with this series. I read the first three books in the Stalking Jack the Ripper series by Kerry Maniscalco when they were all already released. So after the release of Escaping Houdini, I bought the three books and read them, really enjoyed them. Capturing the Devil came out, I read it, really enjoyed it, like, cool. When I found out Kerry Maniscalco was coming out with a new series that was more fantasy based than history based, I was pretty keen. But every time I read the plot, nothing hooked me. All I remember from the plot the first time I read it was twin sisters magic, which isn't a great like elevator pitch, you know. But despite that, I found the first book, Kingdom of the Wicked. It was like $16 at QBD, so I picked it up, thinking I probably will never get to this. Then the third book came out, Kingdom of the Feared, at Kmart for like $12 or $16, and I was like, I already own the first book in the series. I may as well just buy the third book. So if I do want to read them, I've got like enough books there to motivate me. But because I didn't have the second book, I was like, I'm never going to pick them up because I marathon books. Like if I'm starting a series, I read them back to back to back. And I didn't have the second book and I wasn't like actively looking for it. But then my dear friend Lita, for my birthday, which was 3 weeks ago, got me Kingdom of the Cursed. So with all three books in hand, I started reading them. I think I made her week. Like I think I made her so happy taking her recommendation, and I'm so glad I did. So I did finish these three. I did tab them quite a bit. Also, none of these tabs are anything like super significant. These are tabs every time something cute happens between the two main characters. So, the basic plot, without giving too much away, is we are following our main character, Amelia, who's living in Sicily. And she and her twin sister, Vittoria, are witches. And they've been told their entire lives, like, yeah, since they were children, all the way up until their 18th birthday, which is when the book starts, beware of the seven princes of hell. Do not trust the seven princes of hell. They are dangerous. They will lie to you. They will manipulate you. They will bargain with you. They will steal from you. Do not trust them. Avoid them at all costs. And like they spend their entire childhoods basically trying to protect themselves against these princes of hell. So there are seven princes of hell in this series. Obviously, we've got one for each of the seven deadly sins. So we've got wrath, pride, lust, envy, greed, gluttony, and sloth, if I didn't say that already. So each of these princes of hell like rules over sin in their own house in hell. And let's see what's on the back of the book. Okay, it's not a spoiler because it's on the back of the book. One day, Amelia, she stumbles across the dead body of her twin sister. And while most people kind of like fall into grief, she falls into fury. She decides that she wants revenge on whoever has murdered her sister. So she does just that. She summons a prince of hell. She just requests a prince of hell to be summoned in a summoning circle. And she happens to summon Prince Wrath. And that's kind of what starts the book off. In case it wasn't obvious from what I just said, the main two characters in the series are Amelia and Wrath. I think the entire first book is basically just setting up the series, like establishing a relationship or a friendship or some sort of connection between Amelia and Wrath, while Amelia searches for answers as to what has happened to her twin sister. Why did someone attack her twin? what kind of dark magic was her twin involved in that led to her death? Was she somehow involved with the Princes of Hell? All those questions get asked. I think the second book, well, I hate to say it, this book was such a filler book, but it was like the best kind of filler. It was, I would say, reminiscent of like the second book in ACOTAR. Like, it was kind of filler, but it was so good because it was so much Feyre and Rhysand. This was so much Emilia and Wrath. Like I said, every time I tab something, it's just something like cute or smutty that happens between these two characters. And there was so much of it in this book. I was absolutely obsessed. Every time like a new chapter opened, I was like, so what's gonna happen in this chapter? How far are these two characters gonna go while claiming they hate each other? And then in the third book, everything obviously ties up. I don't think it tied up in a very satisfying way. If I had to rank the books in order of favorite to least favorite, I'd go Kingdom of the Cursed, Kingdom of the Wicked, Kingdom of the Feared. So the second book, then the first book, then the third book. I think on a reread, well, I don't know. I just, the third book for me, it was kind of similar to me as The Raven King from the Raven Cycle. I thought it was a kind of mediocre ending to what was a really amazing story. Like, obviously, not much happened. Oh, I'm not showing it very well. Not much happened in Kingdom of the Feared. And like, I didn't feel like there were any real stakes. Like, Emilia is like in every single book, she's just asking for answers to all of her questions. Yeah, she's just asking for answers, and most of them get answered pretty easily in this, I would say. And a couple of things that I guess could have potentially come back to bite Emilia in the ass just didn't. Like, there are a lot of things that I was thinking about after I finished, where I was like, but that didn't get addressed, and that didn't really get resolved, and we still don't have an answer to this question. But like overall, the series as a whole, I'd give 4.5 stars, which is pretty significant for me because I'm not typically someone who enjoys reading a full series. I know it's a trilogy, there's only 3 books, but I'm just too old for reading like a fantasy series. I just cannot stay focused enough anymore. But I did read them all and I did really enjoy them. So thank you to Leda. I haven't told Leda this yet, but she definitely won't see this video. So I guess I can just say it because no one's gonna see this video. Before I'd even finished Kingdom of the Feared, I definitely ordered the hardcover Barnes & Noble exclusive editions. So I guess I'm going to have 2 copies of these books on my shelves because the amount of tabbing I've done in these is not going to be translated into these hardcovers. The hardcovers are A, for aesthetic purposes because I am that bitch now, and B, because there's like a tiny bit of extra content that I'm willing to pay a lot of money for. Anyway, so that is my most recent reads. Now I need to find somewhere on my shelf that they can all sit together, which is going to be really difficult considering that the books are different sizes. But I digress. The book I started reading right after Kingdom of the Feared because I didn't want to get stuck in a book slump. I know myself. If I let too much time pass between reading a really good book and the next book, I won't ever read the next book. So I picked up Faking with Benefits by Lily Gold. This was a book I picked up on a whim from Amazon a couple of months ago. It is a Friends to Lovers reverse harem. I'm exposing way too much of myself on the internet right now, but I love reverse harem. Less of like, I don't like the term reverse harem. I don't know why. I guess it just seems so overtly sexual. I prefer the term why choose. Like, if you've got 3 gorgeous guys in front of you who are willing to be in a relationship with you, like all 3 of them well aware of the other, and they're all happy to share you, and you want to be with all of them, why choose, right? So that's this book currently. So our main character, I was gonna say her name's Lily, but it's definitely not, it's Layla. Our main character, Layla, has got no luck in dating. She's 28 and she wants to get married and have kids. Like, she wants to settle down, but she's never been in a relationship because she never gets past the first date. And her 3 next door neighbors, who run a dating podcast, I guess, decide that they will fake date her, get her prepped and ready for the real world of dating. No like emotions, like they'll take her out on dates. Things have gotten rather sexual, but at the end of it, she'll walk away and have newfound confidence going into the dating world, and they'll still be her best friends. Obviously, that's not going to happen because it's a friends to lovers book. It says, I don't know if you can see, but it says a friends to lovers reverse harem romance. So obviously, things aren't just going to stay no emotions because that's not going to happen. But it's a pretty fast read. Like, it is a big book. It is. Oh, I've got hiccups. God damn it. It is a 550-page book, right? I read 166 pages in like an hour and a half, maybe less. It's a very quick read, and I think it's exactly like it is the perfect book to read after a heavy world focused, magic focused series. That's something light and contemporary that I don't have to think too hard about is the perfect read. So would highly recommend picking up that strategy for yourself if you suffer from book hangovers the way that I do. Lastly, let's get into some of my recent book purchases. So first I have a book I've already read. It's Never Never by Colleen Hoover and Tarryn Fisher. This is like the official or like the traditionally published bind up. I do own Never Never Part 2 when it was individually published parts. And when I read it, Never Never, initially, I wasn't a massive fan because it was just Coho and Tarryn Fisher, I think, have completely different writing styles and genre styles. The Tarryn Fisher romances I've read have always been really dark and sad, and they don't end happy. Whereas Coho's always have a happy ending. Well, usually. For the most part. And I think Never Never was a weird one for me because it was obviously these two authors collaborating, and I was expecting a Coho book, but obviously it's co-written by Tarryn Fisher, so it didn't sit right with me when I was younger. I just didn't enjoy it, but I feel like I would if I gave it a chance. So this book, it follows Charlie and Silas. They've been best friends forever. They've been in love forever. But then the morning that this book starts, they are complete strangers. Neither of them remember anything about each other or themselves. And like it's been a really long time since I read it, but they kind of eventually piece together that like, wait, we're dating? We're in love? How do I not know you? Like, you do not look familiar to me at all. I don't know your name. I don't remember how I got to school today. So yeah, it's an interesting premise. I didn't love it at the time that I read it, but we'll give it another shot. Next, another one I ordered. Oh no, that one was from Big W. This is a Big W. If you'd like it, go for it. This one I ordered from Amazon. It's Not Your Ex's Hexes by April Asher. This is the sequel to Not the Witch You Wed, and I really enjoyed Not the Witch You Wed. I think it was in October. It would have been for spook season. I was getting into like obviously my horrors and my thrillers for Halloween, but I also wanted to throw in some supernatural romances. And I've read Go Hex Solved by Jessica Clare and Not the Witch You Wed by April Asher, and I really enjoyed them both. I love the vibes of like supernaturals in contemporary times, trying to figure out this shit. So the first book follows, I don't remember the sister's name. Anyway, the first book follows one of the sisters from the Maxwell trio. This one follows Rose, another sister, and then obviously the next book will follow the third sister. This one follows, so the Maxwells, I should say, are witches. They're like super powerful, popular, famous witches within their circle. So this follows Rose and a half demon veterinarian. Neither of them are looking for a relationship, but they're doing a friends with benefits situation. I don't know when I'm gonna pick this one up. I probably need to reread the review I wrote after reading Not the Witch You Wed to remind myself exactly what happened in the first book. Basically, I remember in the first book, Rose was engaged and she wasn't necessarily happy in this arrangement. There are fireworks outside. It's midnight on a Sunday. I know it's Labor Day now, but can you relax? So yeah, just like a refresher, like I know that she was engaged. She didn't really want to be in the engagement, but she was pretending she was happy because it's what everyone expected her to do. And then the engagement was ended thanks to her sister, I think, the main character in the first book. So anyway, and I know that the demon, he was mentioned. His name's Damien. Damien the Demon. On point. He was also in the first book, but I don't remember how much focus there was on him. The last standard book I want to show you is The Writing Retreat by Julia Bartz. I received this from Amazon yesterday. It is, I don't know if you can tell, but like, it's a floppy paperback. I love a floppy paperback. As soon as I opened the packaging, I was like, Mum, it's a floppy paperback. I don't know a lot about this. Basically, it's about 5 attendees who are selected for a month-long writing retreat in the like mountains or at a cabin, and I think one by one the women begin to die, which I love that kind of a plot, and I've seen some good things about it online, so I picked it up. The last 2 books I have to show you are special editions, and I'm so glad I own these 2 books. So I feel like everything I say has some sort of backstory. So last year I discovered Beyond the Pages, which is a book box, an Australian book box, and Romance Cartel, which I only think I bought 1 box from before I just stopped. But I always saw people that had like beautiful editions of books from Illumicrate and Faycrate. I didn't mean Faycrate, I meant Fairy Loot. Anyway, I'm so sorry, I'm getting a headache. And I was always jealous. Like, it's so hard not to be jealous when people have like beautiful editions of books that you genuinely love and wish you had copies of. And at some point last year I stumbled across Fabled. Fabled is an Australian romance book box that I'd never heard of before, like October last year. So at that point in October I pre-ordered the Never After series by Emily McIntyre and Den of Vipers by K.A. Knight. I've since received those both. They're on my shelf, that's fine. But in the time it took me to find Fabled, I missed a beautiful edition of a book that I am interested in and that I had a standard paperback copy of. I've actually just sold the standard paperback version, literally like 2 hours ago. But I really wanted to get my hands on this edition first, which I did. So it's just so beautiful. It is Court of the Vampire Queen by Katie Robert. Look at this beauty. It is all silver foiling with the matte red blood dripping down. The spine, she's beautiful. The back, she's beautiful. And it says, one queen to rule them all. You've got red, and skulls and roses on the book pages. It's so beautiful. It is so, oh, and end pages as well. A little skulls and roses. And this is a digitally signed copy. And I know that this book was same as Never Never, originally released in 3 different parts. But I'm so happy to have this beautiful edition. I actually had to buy this one from eBay. I'm in a couple of book buy, sell, trade, swap groups on Facebook. But every time someone listed one of these, like 10 minutes later, when I finally like scrolled past the post, it had already been sold. Every time I found this, it had already been sold. Or someone had commented sold. So I never got a chance. So I had to go on, I looked on eBay and I found it. I don't think it was super expensive. I think it was like $50 plus shipping, which is about the price I would have paid if I got it from Fabled. And it does come in its own like book sleeve, which is super fancy. And I've also ordered a couple more books from Fabled that I missed out on before I joined the waitlist and before I got an offer on the waitlist. So we'll get to that. I've also ordered copies of The Hitman Who Stole Christmas, The Devil You Know. Is there only those 2 that I'm missing that I really wanted? I think so. The Devil You Know and The Hitman Who Stole Christmas. But like I said, I also joined the subscription waitlist probably like back in December, because I'd also seen that with Fabled they have their monthly subscription. So they have a Twilight subscription you can choose, which is usually like a supernatural or paranormal romance that's pretty light on the spice factor. And then you have the Fabled Nights subscription, which is usually a contemporary romance, usually really dark, usually really spicy. And then you've got so you can do the Twilight subscription, the Night subscription, or a subscription where you get both books each month. But as well as the subscriptions, they have books like the Never After series and Den of Vipers that were just special editions that they obviously offered to subscribers first, and then the general public. So you don't need a subscription for those. You can just jump onto the site and get them. I did forget to say, the Sarah Kate series, I don't know what the series is called. I haven't even read the series, but I've heard so much about it, so I ordered that series. There's like Praise is the first book, I think. Anyway, so in January I got an offer to subscribe, so I picked the Fabled Knights edition because I definitely prefer a contemporary spicy romance over like a light paranormal romance. And my first book, this is the February Fabled Knights book. It arrived the other day and I just about shit my pants. It is Still Beating by Jennifer Hartman, and I read this year. At some point this year, in the last 3 months, I read Still Beating for the first time, and I was obsessed, and I convinced my best friend to read it, and she loved it, and now my best friend has surpassed me, and she's read June 1st, and I haven't read June 1st. She really wants me to read it, but I did sell my Beyond the Pages copy of June 1st yesterday because it's an ugly cover. Like, I'm so sorry. I feel so bad because I know that's someone's hard work. I don't necessarily like the foiling color that he used on those books. I didn't really like the image on the cover. It just like was a bit, I don't know if cheesy is the right word. I just didn't really like it. So, and even though it was signed, I would have loved to have a signed copy, but I think I'll survive. I'd rather sell it and put the money I made from selling it to a book that I actually would enjoy. So my friend Sarah's gonna have to wait until I get my hands on a copy of the standard paperback. But anyway, this is my copy of Still Beating. It's beautiful. So this is the dust jacket. Like, cool. And then we got to take her off and see her naked. And it is beautiful. No special foiling on this one, but I think that's okay. I don't think Still Beating is the kind of book that would need like special foiling on it. I just hit myself with a book. Pretend you didn't notice that. And the back cover says, every love story is worth writing no matter how messy it might be. And obviously we've got sprayed edges. Oh, you can't hear it. Hang on. No, it was the first time I opened up the sprayed edges, and they make like a sound as they all split apart for the first time. And then the spine edges are just chains and flower petals. So I'm very happy. I don't know what I'm doing with my standard copy of Still Beating. I think for now I'll probably just hold on to it and see how we go. Anyway, this has been a much longer video than I anticipated. I don't even know if I'm going to upload it at this point, but thank you for sticking around, I suppose.